I ran up a check, I might do it again. Enemies close, had me thinking they're friends. 10 toes down, I'll be free until the end. Crib outside the city, I don't feel safe in my hands. Took so many years, I'm just waiting for the wins. I'm in debt to no one but the one who took my sins. I do it for real, there's no reason to pretend. If I do it once, I do it again. Add it up, bankroll, euro, peso, add it up, I'm just doing me, everything is on me, oh you matter what. Add it up, bankroll, euro, peso, add it up, I'm just doing me, everything is on me, oh you matter what. Add it up, told her if it's all me, everything is on me, gon' back it up. Matter what, told you I'ma do me, why you hating on me, it's not adding up. I do roll like a Mack truck, country heart, I might cop a farm and go act up. Lot of scars, I was cold-hearted, now I'm back up. Keep it real, I do this once a month, I don't rap much. I just take the money and go stack up.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. What's up, Savannah? This is your boy, Julius Campbell. I'm here with you, Ain't to Ain't, Incorporation to Incorporation. What do? We come here every Friday night to do what? To set the record straight. We are here because we want to change the narrative. What narrative is that? The false narrative that many of us returning citizens, when we come home, automatically we are going back into incarceration. That is not the case, for there are many of us that are successful. Yes, we are successful organizationally, we are successful occupationally, we are successful in family relations in many ways. And we want tonight and many other Friday nights, we want to get these stories out. Why? Because we believe that stories matters. Why do stories matter? Because when I hear how you, that returning citizen, have made it, that encourages me, that empowers me, that educates me to know that I can also make it myself. And so that's why we're here every Friday on Ain't to Ain't. You know, I got to give a shout out to my co-host, Marie Jones. She's not here with us right now, but I know she's been pumping this show up for tonight. Also, my partner, Julius Hall, he has given us this platform, Our Black Media, to allow us to share these things. And also, AB, who helped us to think about what this incarceration to corporation is also about. So before we get started, I want to tell you a little bit about what you see behind me, and that is OAA Savannah, Offender Alumni Association Savannah. What is that? That is our grassroots nonprofit organization. It is a collective group of men and women coming together to help to connect dots. You hear we say alumni, offenders. There are men and women who have returned home from incarceration, be it 20 years ago or 20 days ago. And what we do is we provide a safe space for men and women to share their stories. Also, we help to connect dots. Like me, I'm sure you, when you come home, you heard that there were multiple resources that were out there. But where were they? We had no access to them. We didn't even know the knowledge of where they were. And so what we at OAA Savannah said that we were going to do, we were intentional about finding, locating these resources, and then connecting these dots for you. And that's why we also come out and connect with Ain't to Ain't to make sure that you, number one, hear stories that motivate and move you. And then number two, that you find out where these resources are. So without any further ado, I got my partner on tonight, Mr. Anthony Vincent. He's going to share his story. And his story is talking about it's never too late. Many of us think that, you know, I've been incarcerated for this amount of years, and we say it's just too late for me. Well, he's here tonight to let us know that it's never too late to begin again. So what's up, Anthony? Tell the people who you are. I can't hear you, Anthony. Speak up a little bit.
Now I can hear you, Mr. Campbell. I couldn't hear you.
Okay. Go ahead and tell the people who you are.
I need you to repeat the question, Mr. Campbell, because I didn't hear you none of that whole time.
Wow. Okay. Well, the people heard me, and that was important enough. Tell the people who you are, what's your name, and what is your relationship to incarceration.
My name's Anthony Benson. My relationship to incarceration is probably since I was a juvenile, 13. You know, when I started off in the contract homes. Um, I was in the contract homes until right at 16, finna be 17. Um, but during that time, um, after the contract homes, it went to go into the chain gang every 2 years. You know,
What is a
sometimes a little bit
contract
more
home?
than that. I guess I probably been. What is the what?
Contract home. What is a contract home?
Contract homes like a foster home,
Okay.
but is developed by the state. You know, to keep you from going in juvenile, they give you another option. You know, of replacing you somewhere else. And so I stayed with my contract parent probably about 3 years.
Mhm. Okay, so when you left the
And
contract
once
home,
I was,
Tisha, tell me your story, starting from the contract home till incarceration and then coming out. Tell us your story.
okay. Well, it went from the contract home until I got out the contract home, and then I, caught, my first real charges of charges of possessions with intent and firearms and everything else. And so, it just never stopped there. I got my first charge. Well, got my first charge when I was probably 15. But the other charges, they put me in a contract home, so I really didn't get charged with them. After that, I say from 17 all the way to I guess I've been out now. It's just 22. So I've probably been out 12 years now. But and I'm 46. So every year, I mean every 2 years, I go off and do me a little bid or whatever. Um, but once I got to on last one was like 20 when I was about 28 or 30. You know, that wasn't the last one. But 28 and 30, that's when I went to realize, what am I going to do? Am I going to keep doing this? Because, every time, that I go, I lose everything that I got. That's my girl, my cars, um, my place, you know, and I lose a lot with my children, you know. So when I got, 28, that's when I went to trying to make me a business plan of what the hell I'm finna do now, you know. Um, that business plan, it didn't turn out to what I wanted, because I was going into business for pressure washing, pressure washing, doing parking lots, um, striping parking lots and stuff like that. But when I got out, it wasn't like that. Each time I got me a job, and when I got the job, I still hustle from the job. I still was out the way 8 hours a day, but I still hustle from the job. But after that, during that time, I had to keep my kids, you know, because my baby mama had a nervous breakdown, and to where I had my two oldest kids until it was I was all they had, you know. So without mama and daddy, where they was going. So I had to get my mind right, man. You know, um, of being out here with them children. So during that time, me keeping them, I got a little job at Briggs and Stratton, and I had them been working there for 4 months. And usually they tell you, within 90 to 120 days, they'll hire you on. So every day, I went out to this job, I put up numbers, I broke records every day, you know, because I really wanted this job, because it was a sweet job. I was working on the line with nothing but women from 2 to 9. Where else would I want it to be? I want to be right there every day on task. And I was, you know. But then, when the company wanted to hire me on from the temp service, that's when I got in another little stumbling block to where they wanted me to go back out. They wanted me to leave that job and go back out and do concrete finishing, in which I had experience in that. But that's not what I wanted. I ain't going back out there doing that labor. So, by that time, I put some work back in my hand again. And once I did that and put my children at risk every day, that's when I met my wife. My wife was getting them kids every day, you know, while I'm out, doing whatever. And once I, really got with her and realized this woman loved me, you know, I was like, damn, I can't leave her too, So I'm like, so what you gonna do? Because that's all she did was work. And so, I don't want to be the lesser in any situation, So I went back into brick mason for myself, you know. And then in 2007 or 8, whenever we had that depression, I realized, this can shut down at any time, So I went to landscaping. And hopefully, I'm answering your questions, Mr. Campbell. But my last bit of incarceration was 2010 to 2011.
Mhm. Mhm. Oh, yes, you did. You answered my question very well. As a matter of fact, I want to hear a little bit more about what you're doing now. But before I do that, I heard you say that there were some things that you did that caused you to make those poor choices again, to go back to doing what you did that got you into the trouble that got you into. I want to ask you, what do you do now that helps you to make better choices? What's up, Tisha? I see you. Always my partner coming from Las Vegas. And I also see you too, Mr. Terrence Missick from Hinesville. But what I want to ask you, Anthony, what are you doing now that will help you to make those wise choices even when things get difficult? Do you have someone in your life as an accountability partner? I heard you speak about your wife.
Yeah. Um, that was my new probation officer. You know, um, really, all my life, I really needed extra rules. You know what I mean? For me not to, get in trouble or whatever, because I always been, out there. Um, she, was the one that helped me, go to a different direction.
Mm-hmm.
Um, with her, I started after the brick mason, we went it went to that depression and stuff. I figured out what else could that I can do, to work for myself. Um, I was already doing landscaping.
Mm-hmm.
I was already doing landscaping aside of the brick mason. I do that when I get off from work.
Right.
And so, me and a friend got together, um, and we was going into partners together and stuff. In which that didn't work, you know. But it got me on that path because that's what I really knew because my uncles, that's what they did. Both of them had businesses into landscaping.
Right.
So I thought about it. Um, from the brick mason and everything, landscaping. I mean, that the brick mason stuff, it can slow down. The
Right.
housing market and all that slows down. But one thing won't never slow down is your yard, your grass. Your
Correct.
hedges won't never stop growing. You know. So I'm like, hey, I can do that, and I'm good at it.
Mm-hmm.
And so, after the brick mason, stuff, during that depression, we got laid off. But I was the only one. Nope, it was me and another white boy. We got eligible for unemployment because we had been there so long.
Right.
You know. And so I took my unemployment check and I bought landscaping tools, you know, to start.
Right.
And where that got me at, I did that from 2007 to 2010, the last time I got locked up. My wife ran the business. So when I got out, business was struggling. And so I was like, oh, I I wanted to give up, because when I got out, before I went in, I had all brand new equipment.
Right.
But when I got out, that stuff, was towed down. Then the motor went out on my mower, so I had to go get a loan, and I got back in debt, you know, for this same mower that I never finished paying for. And so it just seemed like I was drowning. And I was like, well, good as I am, or far as being loyal to employees and my employers and doing this stuff, I'm just gonna go work for somebody else. So I found a landscape company in Savannah that hired me on, and I went through all the stages. By me working, doing my stuff, $60, $80 an hour, and had to drop back down to $10 an hour. That made me put something back in my hand.
Right.
I'm like, this is not
So
enough.
hold up right there.
But
Hold up right there, Anthony. So let me, because I see we got, what's up, Rod? I see you. And also Alexander, thank you for joining. What up, cousin? I see you, Vanya. What I want you to do for a moment, let me recap up to where you are. We're talking about is never too late. Never too late to begin again. And you're sharing with us your story of how when you came home, you had the mindset of entrepreneurship. Not so much just you, but you went, you bought you some equipment, you started your own landscaping business, and it became prosperous. But then you begin to get back into some of the old ways of doing things, which caused you to get back locked up again. Common vernacular that I use to be reincarcerated or recidivism. But nevertheless, we are learning that even for those of us that have gotten out, returning citizens, even for us, we must always be mindful of that pull to do those things that we used to do. And I know that Anthony is going to tell us because he said two people was instrumental in his life. One, his wife. Two, his parole officer. They both were instrumental in helping him to try to make wise decisions. We must keep accountability partners in our lives because there's always something trying to pull us back to the old way of doing things. But he's getting ready to tell us where he is right now. And I want you to take up from that spot, Anthony. Go ahead.
all right. So anyway, once I went to that landscaping company taught me the tools, gave me the formulas to be able to bid on city and county jobs,
Right.
state jobs, And so after that company shut down. And then with that loyalty with that company, they gave me everything that I needed to start my own.
Wow.
And so and not only that, they taught me, because I went from all the way from the weed eater man to sales to general manager, and that really meant something to me. That I am. I can do something else. You know, I went to running my little company from 4 people, you know, to 90 people. You know,
Wow.
and so once that was over, I was like, I really can do this for myself, really now, because because it always be aligned with us, where the stuff always grandfathered in, with small towns, people, been doing stuff for years, so we don't get the chance, to go and do something else, or get those, high paying jobs. We have to do the residential stuff.
Okay.
But once I got my first contract with Chatham County, you know, that helped me move further in life. Just with that one contract, that was $100,000 that I'd never seen.
Wow.
And so I'm like, man. So then, I got another contract with the city. And that shot me 6 more digits. I know, I can move a little further. So what I did with that money was I invested into real estate.
Okay.
What I mean by that, not, no, I ain't going by the $200,000 houses, none of that. I was buying tax seized houses. Once I buy them, for whatever, I fix them up, I flip it. Well, I flip it, I fix them up and I rent them.
Okay.
And that's, to give me some backup for me and my wife when we can't work no more.
Okay.
But along with that, by accumulating that rent and with the landscaping, company, I ventured off into porter services. Some of us don't, want to do that kind of stuff, but I believe, in God we trust. Everybody must pay, you know. So if you want me to do that, that's what I'm gonna do, you know. So with that porter services, that landed me a contract at Georgia Ports.
Right.
So after the Georgia Ports, I wanted a food truck. I wanted to be able to pull up, really at the, to be honest, at the nightclubs and stuff where they don't have food after, But with the food truck came, you had to have a brick and mortar building, for your anyway, you had to have a brick and mortar building, to be able to fix your food and stuff, prepare your food and all that stuff there. I'll think about it in a minute.
So while you're
But
thinking, give me a
doing
minute.
that,
Hold on. While you're thinking, let me cap. And I love what you're saying. Again, it is never too late. That's the title of today's show. And we got Anthony Vincent sharing with us. He's saying that, listen, I went and I did some time incarcerated. And that's what this show is called, Incarceration to Incorporation, or Ink to Ink. He started out with lawn care services, moved from lawn care services to real estating. And then he went from real estating to porta party business. And then from there, now he's moving into the restaurant. I love this because what you're doing is you are encouraging others. Your story motivates us, hopefully, to missions, to moving, and to not just holding our head down and saying, I've messed up. You are motivating us right now. You are empowering us. And so I love what you got going on right now. So is that where you are right now? You're still riding with all of those, or you are just right now in the restaurant business?
nope, I'm still riding with everything.
Okay.
Plus what I ain't told you. But you know, the restaurant, the restaurant came from me having to have brick and mortar building. So from the
Mm-hmm.
brick and mortar, I was like, if I got to go on and get all this stuff, by the health department and this and that, I might as well put me a little food bar in here. And so, that's what I did. That's where the restaurant come from. I really didn't have, the passion or the dream, for a restaurant. My passion and dream was for that food truck, so that I can move and I can go around, But with faith and God, the restaurant turned out, pretty good, until where the food truck moving, the restaurant, doing numbers. Um, and then I have my other plans, on what's next.
What's next?
Well, what's next? I want to go into trucking
Gotcha.
because because right now in Savannah, Garden City, it's the number one port. Well, not the number one, but they do a lot of numbers out there, in which I can add a lot of numbers in my pocket
Check this
and to
out.
others.
Check this out. I see one of my partners on right now that's into trucking right now. What up, Rod? And so let me turn the corner for a moment because we're not going to be on much longer. I want to remind the people, what are we talking about? Here at Ink to Ink OAA Savannah, we're talking about it's never too late. It's never too late to begin again. It's never too late to learn from our mistakes. It's never too late to share your story because your story can encourage, can impact, can empower, can educate another person to know that if Anthony did it, I can do it also. And so, Anthony, I want to ask you a question as we turn this corner. Would you do me a favor? Would you look right there into that camera where you are, and would you encourage someone right now, some man or some woman that has gotten out of prison, be it 20 years ago or 20 days ago? Would you encourage them right now and let them know that they too can make it?
My real turn on money didn't come around until I was 41. I was 41 and got that first check for $50,000. And right now I'm at 46, and I do $60,000 a month.
Wow.
And that's not including the rest of my landscaping services, porta services, which is not porta potties.
Oh,
It's included in there, but that ain't what we do.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
But we will. We will. And what I want to do is encourage brothers and sisters that if you are the smartest person in your circle, that's not a good circle. If you are hanging around 9 broke people, you're gonna be the 10th one because each one of them gonna mooch off you. So it's very important to join organizations. I just don't think of this stuff on my own. I'm a Prince Hall Mason, past master. I'm also, a member of the Soulful Riders Motorcycle Club. And with all my brothers in both organizations, a lot of them are older than me, a lot smarter than me. And so it's very important in life to listen to people because you don't know everything. Even now, I don't know everything. I want to know some more. And as they say, you can learn a lot from it, dummy. You just know not to do what he did. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I hope that encourages, each and every person that hears this podcast. It's never too late, but you got to get on the right track and be around the right people.
Right.
A lot of you know, a lot of people say, you know, oh, this is a white man's world. It's your damn world if you want it. You know what I mean? Because they got every opportunity out here for us. When they were getting with that money, they ain't get to just the white people. They give to everybody that qualified for it.
That's right.
You know.
That's right.
So
let me ask you a question.
To also let you know.
Hold on before you do that. Let me ask you this question. Because I asked you at the beginning, I want to remind you. There are those that you left behind, those that are still behind the wall who haven't had an opportunity yet. How do you remember them? Because there are many men and women who are still behind the bars that are ready, but because of policies, antiquated policies that is, and laws, they have not been given an opportunity, but they are positive, they are productive, and they're ready and waiting, but they haven't gotten that opportunity. How are you remembering those that are still behind the bars?
I keep accepting them calls and keep putting them green dots in cash on them books.
Okay. Okay, I like that answer. Look, this is what we do because we're getting ready to come to a close. What I want to say to you, and first of all, thank you, bro, for coming. What we do here at OAA Savannah every other Wednesday, so 2 weeks, we have a meeting. And in that meeting, we provide a safe space, 8011 Waters Avenue, OAA Savannah. And we meet there. And as we meet, we have men and women to come out and share their stories. We have relations, those who have did the time with ourselves, like relatives. We also have resources to show up. So I want to invite you out, if you're able, Anthony, to come out on a Wednesday night and just, again, share with us and also provide those resources that may be needed. You may be one that can help to connect the dot for that person who don't know about jobs. Are you hiring?
Yep.
Okay, good. So what we can do, we can get your information and we can disseminate it and share it with others, especially on our OAA meetings that we're going to have. As a matter of fact, November the 9th, this Wednesday that's coming up next week, we're going to have a meeting and we provide meals for those who comes out, and not only meals, but resources and a platform for you to share your story, to be encouraged and motivated. So Anthony, again, man, I want to say thank you for coming out and sharing with us, because, you are not the only one that's doing what you're doing right now. There are many others that are vying for an opportunity to share their story. I myself, as I say often, look at me now. I started out wrong, but I'm finishing strong. Marie, Julius Hall, AB, and countless others, they are also coming on and sharing those powerful, poignant stories of how we are now successful. So, is there any final words you want to share with our audience before we leave?
That I'm hiring right now for some of the best soul food cooks in the city, bakers, whatever. If you got a passion for food, contact me. And, not only that, I'm willing to do a partnership, to where this is not just a job, it's a career. A lot of the things I do, I do it, but other people run it because that's what they do better than me.
Right.
So with that being said, if anybody needs Vincent.
So what I want you to do is,
don't call to use Vincent.
I want you, my name is, again, Julius Campbell, but I'm going to give you my email. Is jcampbell@offenderalumniassociation.org. My wife is going to put that in the chat so that you can see it. jcampbell@offenderalumni.org. Reach out to me. My number, 912-484-2145, 912-484-2145. Contact me so that I can get you into contact with Mr. Anthony. Hey, again, Anthony, thank you for coming on tonight. For those of you that are always joining us, much love. I know my peoples that are watching me. And remember, here we educate, we empower, and we also encourage. Again, we may have started this thing out wrong, but look at us now. We are finishing strong. We love you. We'll see you again next Friday on Ain't to Ain't. Good night.
Like this.